See y'all this evening. I'm really excited and privileged to be here, to be a part of this great chapter of Phi Beta Sigma, and to be able to celebrate with the awesome Sigma Beta Club. These young men who have been had the opportunity of being mentored and poured into, and thousands of young men have had that opportunity since the 50s, and it's just a great privilege to kind of live up to this motto of the Sigma Beta Club, that they're the next generation of leaders, accepting responsibility and loving the challenge. And I'm really excited to be here and to celebrate you awesome mothers, especially on this weekend. I think it's apropos to pause and acknowledge the hard work of motherhood. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the truth that many of us, even these brothers around the room, are who we are because of the investment of incredible mothers who poured into our lives and in such an incredible, selfless way. And so it's a great thing. We ought to just give all of the mothers in the room a round of applause, a celebration. Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, my children are blessed because they have an incredible mother, and I believe that yours are as well. Mothers have been, in truth, the pillar of our community for years, for generations. They've been the backbone, if you will. And so I think it's good that we pause every now and again to honor you, incredible mothers. I was thinking of mothers, and I was thinking of the word mother, and as an acronym, I was thinking of M for motivation, and how moms are incredible motivators. You guys have an incredible way of getting beneath the surface in the lives and the hearts of your children and pushing us to do things that we didn't think we could accomplish. And so we celebrate you for being incredible motivators. I look at the letter O, and I think mothers are outstanding. They are the epitome of excellence. They're everything that we aspire to be. I laugh now. My mother's been gone a little over 18 years. And when I met my wife and married my wife, all of my family remarked with how much my wife resembled my mother. It's amazing how sons look up to their mother in such a way that even as they grow old and they look for their own spouse, that they very often find someone who reflects the values of their mother. And so I thank God for mothers. And mothers are teachers, the letter T. They're teachers. They're our first instructors in life. And they show us what's right and what's wrong. And so it's such a great privilege just to celebrate you as our teacher and your heroes. I mean, I don't know about you, but my mom was a superhero. She could do things that was impossible. She could see things that I didn't think she could see. I was sharing with our church on Sunday. I remember sitting in the back seat of the car, and I was sitting with my sister, and we would get into it, and I was behind her seat, and I don't know how in the world she could see what I had done, but before I knew it, she had a unique way of reaching me in the back seat. While driving, she would apply the board of education to the seat of learning. And I saw her do that as an incredible teacher and a hero. And mothers are encouragers. They just have a knack of being able to speak life into you and to make you feel like you could run through a wall. When you have a conversation with mom, it makes you feel like I can go back to school and get these grades up. I can act and behave the way I'm supposed to. Such an encouraging spirit. And mothers have relentless love that conquers all, love that chases you down, love that doesn't throw you away. When the world wants to throw you away, your mother's love is always there to catch you and to comfort you. And I just celebrate you wonderful mothers. I celebrate you for the investment that you pour in, for the hours that you spend, the prayers that you pray, the tears that you cry, the worry that nobody else knows, the dreams that you have for your children. It's remarkable, and I think it's apropos that we take this time to just say thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your investment. Thank you for everything that you do. And for a few minutes, Brother Earl, I just want to talk to the young fellas as well and say, how do we honor our moms? How do we honor our moms? How do we live up to all that they've poured into us? And I know everybody has different varying levels of attention span. I was a youth pastor for a long time. I know how to say it and sit down. And I'm not going to take a whole lot of time, but I am going to tell you that I'm going to give you the claim of what I'm going to say up front. So if you zone out in 2 or 3 minutes, you'll at least know what it is that I want to say. But if you can hang in there, I think it'll be beneficial to you. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to remind you what I said. Did you hear me? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to remind you what I said. I'm going to go back and sit with my wife, all right? The first thing I want you to understand, or the whole idea is, if you really want to honor your mom, then you have to understand these 3 C's of manhood, of growing into becoming a young man. 3 C's. Now, obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. Some of these fine men around the room could probably add a number of things to this list, and I would graciously acquiesce to whatever they add to it, but this is my opportunity to share, so I'm going to share the 3 that I have, and that's this. You ought to be young men of commitment, young men of conviction, and young men of character. Those are the 3 C's. Young men of commitment, young men of conviction, and young men of character. Commitment is defined as the state or quality of being dedicated to something, some cause, some activity. And in life, young men, you got to show commitment in many areas of your life. You got to show some stick-to-itiveness, some drive to continue even when it gets difficult. You got to be committed in your academic pursuits. There's nothing more important in this stage of our lives than studying and learning all that we can learn and getting as much as you can. Read widely, listen to your teachers, soak up as much as you can soak up. It might not seem like it makes sense now, but down the line, it's going to be beneficial to you. Nobody else should be more invested in your education and your academics than you. Your teacher, your mom, your parents, nobody else should have more drive to make sure you do your work than you do. I'm calling you, I'm challenging you, I'm charging you to be committed in your academics. Be committed in your athletic pursuits. I know many of you have dreams of grandeur. If we're honest, some of these brothers around the room had the same dreams. And if you really want to be a good athlete, if you really want to be successful, it requires commitment. No coach, no teammate, no friend wants to be on the team with somebody who doesn't really commit to the challenge that's at hand. So I want to encourage you to be committed. Be committed to personal development. Be committed to being the best you that you can be. Don't try to be the best LeBron James. Don't try to be the best Jay-Z. They got that squared away. You be the best you. When God made you, he broke the mold. Nobody can do you like you can do you. So have fun, enjoy life, but be the best that you can be. And lastly, be committed to your future. Have a telos ethic. It's the word that you get telescope from. See the end from the beginning. Even though you may not be able to see when you become a doctor yet, believe it now. See it from here and start doing things every single day to accomplish the goal that you have. So I want you to have commitment. Say commitment. The second thing is conviction. Conviction says that you believe strongly in something. You've drawn lines in the sand. You will stand for something. The saying goes, he who stands for nothing will fall for anything. And I want to encourage you to be young men of conviction. Be convicted in your moral character. Don't do everything that everybody else does. Just because your buddy does it doesn't mean you need to do it. You ought to stand for something. Believe wholeheartedly in your own ability. Believe that you can accomplish the things that God has in front of you. Nobody can deter you from doing it if you really have a conviction, a strong belief to accomplish it. And then believe in your dreams. I mean, dream big. Don't allow anybody to rain on your dreams. Dream big. You can be the president. You can go to the NFL. You can go to the moon. Whatever it is that's on your dream board, dream big, and every single day do something to move closer to your dream. So you got to have conviction. Be young men of conviction. Say conviction. The third thing is be young men of character. Character is defined as the mental or moral qualities that are distinctive to an individual. You want to be a young man who is filled with integrity. Integrity says, I do the same thing in front of everybody that I do when I'm all by myself. You don't want to be the kind of young man that's well behaved at home, but you go to school and you act like you don't have any home training. Thought I'd have a few parents who would agree with me right through there, that we ought to be young men of character. Character means you ought to be honest and trustworthy. You ought to be men of your word. If you say you're going to do something, you ought to do it. You ought to be obedient to your parents. There's nothing that speaks more volumes about your character than how you honor and obey your mother and your parents and those who have authority over you. Respect those people who have authority over you, even in the school, in the neighborhood. Respect those people who are looking out for your best interests. Have love and compassion for one another. That's a character issue. If you can't smile sometimes, if you can't love people, that means something's wrong, something's broken in you. God has made you guys incredible. You got to continue to strive for excellence. Love people. Be philanthropic to your ability. Obviously, you may not be able to write a check for $1 million, but if you're on the basketball court and they're not picking the one guy who's not so good, you be the guy who picks him on your team. You be the one who encourages people and lifts them up, and they're excited to see you because you genuinely care about everyone else. And then carry yourself with pride and dignity. Listen, dress for where you want to be, and not just when what you wear, how you carry yourself. Be poised, be proud, young men. Hold your head up. When you talk to people, look them in their eyes, shake their hand with strength. Be young men that have some strong character. I told you the things I wanted to tell you. I just told you them. Now I want to remind you, moms, we love you, we appreciate you. Young men, if you really want to honor your mother, be young men of commitment, young men of conviction, and young men of character. God bless you.